A recent court ruling in Malaysia is seen as good news for religious freedom there. The decision allows a Muslim man to officially change his religion to Christianity. Malaysia is a mostly Muslim nation where Christians are oppressed and persecuted. And joining us now is David Curry, CEO of Open Doors USA, a ministry that serves the persecuted church. Welcome, David.
Thank you very much for having me.
Can you tell us what's been the Malaysian church's reaction to this decision?
Well, I think people are cautiously optimistic about this ruling. In this case, we have a man, Rooney, who was born into a Christian family. His family then became Muslims, and he was registered as a child as a Muslim then after that conversion. Now, what he's asked to do is to be able to decide for himself what his faith is. He became a Christian in 1999, and this court ruling sets a good precedent, we think, although we need to be cautious because it may be challenged in the court. It sets a precedent that Christians have the right to choose their own faith.
Will so-called apostates who have left Islam still be at risk from attacks by Muslim vigilante groups?
Well, Malaysia is an interesting case. You do have some pluralism there in the community. You have people from different nations and different faiths that live next to each other. But the question in Malaysia, as with Indonesia, is whether or not people can convert or choose for themselves their own faith after they've been registered as a certain faith. So we could see outrage from some extremist groups or even challenges in court. But we feel like this is a good precedent. People should have the right, if you have freedom of religion, which Malaysia says they have, then they should have the right to decide for themselves if they can be followers of Jesus or any other faith for that matter.
What did ex-Muslims do before this ruling if they wanted to be Christian?
Well, they lived in a great tension because many of them could not come out publicly as Christians. They couldn't attend Christian churches because if they did, then those churches would be under threat of violence or even some government persecution. So there's been a real tension on what it means to decide for yourself what your faith is. If you had been born in an Islamic family, Islamic faith, registered as such, you were sort of stuck in that caste system. What this does is open the possibility. Can people decide for themselves what their faith is?
So in the past, it's been very dangerous to be a Christian in Malaysia.
Absolutely. And not just from Islamic extremist groups, although that is a small portion of the community, but also from the national registration and from the government rules, which can really hem in and make it difficult for a person to decide for themselves what they believe.
Does this recent court ruling mean Islam in Malaysia is more moderate, David?
You have moderate forces in Malaysia that are part of the government there, part of the community, certainly. I don't think we can read too much into this except to say you had a just ruling by the court that this person as an adult should have the ability to choose for themselves what they are as far as their faith identification. Now, it's going to be challenged likely by Islamic groups. It could be, certainly, and you could have even the National Registry challenging it. So we'll see what happens, but for now, we take it as a good sign. I'd like to see this happen in other Islamic countries like Indonesia and some others within the region.
Okay, David Curry, the CEO of Open Doors USA. Thanks for joining us, David.
Thank you.